lads, welcome back to the channel, and as you can tell by the title and the thumbnail of the video, we are back for the 2020 to 2021 season. There's a lot of 20s in that. Predictions for the first game week starting on Friday, kicking off with the game Watford against Middlesbrough. This season I'm also going to try and do Premier League predictions. Unfortunately I won't be able to do one for the first game week as that starts on Saturday and I am out Friday and I won't have a chance to basically do the predictions in a full video like I do with the championship ones, but we'll be doing that from week 2. At the end of the video I'm just going to give you my score predictions, not explaining why I think that for the Premier League game, so I'm just going to be giving you my straight up Premier League predictions. But yeah, without further ado, let's streak back to the championship and get in predicting the first game week of the season for the new championship season. Right, on to the first game now, and it kicks off at Friday at 7:45 and is between Watford and Middlesbrough. Watford obviously relegated from the Premier League last season. In their last 3 games, they have lost 4-0 to Man City. I think that was a Premier League game, and 3-2 to Arsenal. They were both Premier League games, and they have only had one friendly. Obviously, they didn't play in the Carabao Cup for some reason. I don't know why, because there was some teams who just didn't play in it. And that friendly was against Spurs, and they managed to win that one 2-1, so good signs for them. Middlesbrough, on the other hand, they are playing Middlesbrough. They lost 3-1 against Cardiff and beat Wednesday 2-1 to end their championship season last time. But then in the Carabao Cup, their game, they beat Shrewsbury 4-3, a good win for them there as they go through to round 2. But the thing is, if Watford had a lot of their players, but the thing is, they're without 10 of their main players, including Deeney and Deulofeu. I think this will have an effect on them, but I still think they'll be able to win this one. And I'm going to go for a 2-1 win for Watford. Now on to the Saturday games, and the first one kicks off, the first of 2 half-12 kickoffs, and it is between Birmingham and Brentford, who obviously Brentford missing out in the playoff final last time. Birmingham, they have, in the last 3, they lost 1-0 against Spurs in a friendly, beat Walsall 3-0 in a friendly, again like the Spurs game, but in their Carabao Cup game they lost 1-0 to Cambridge, a bit of a shock there. Brentford, on the other hand, they've had a couple of friendlies like Birmingham. They lost 2-1 to West Ham, drew 2-2 with Oxford, and in their Carabao Cup game they managed to beat Wycombe on penalties. So not a great start to the season with regards to results in friendlies and the Carabao Cup. But I do think Brentford, obviously they lost Ollie Watkins earlier this week to Villa, which is a huge blow for them. But I still think they've got a lot of quality. Obviously they'll be looking to place Ollie Watkins before the transfer window ends. But I just think they'll be able to beat Birmingham side. They're obviously not one of the strongest sides in the championship. So for this one, I think it will be 2-1 to Brentford. On to now the second of the half-12 kickoffs, and it is between both sides that were 2 of the sides that were promoted from League One last season, and it is between Wycombe and Rotherham. Wycombe, their last 3, they won 2-1 against Oxford, obviously the game that got them into the championship. Then they got hammered 5-1 by West Ham in a friendly, poor result for them. And then Brentford, obviously they played Brentford and lost on penalties against Brentford, a good 1-1 draw there, which shows maybe they can punch their way in the championship. Obviously drawing in normal time against the team that made the playoff final last season, which doesn't really, the penalties don't really matter because you're not going to get penalties in a normal championship season. Rather than, on the other hand, they've only played 2 games recently. That's all I could see for their results. They won 3-0 against Mansfield in a friendly. They were meant to be playing against Burton in a friendly, got postponed, and then in their Carabao Cup game they lost on penalties against Salford after drawing 1-1 in normal time. I think with this one, I think it'll be a very tight game. Both teams obviously looking to get off to a good start in the championship, but I do think Wycombe might be able to get off to a winning start this one, and I'm going to go for a 1-0 home win for Wycombe, them just nicking it here. On to the first of the 3 o'clock games now, and is between Bournemouth and Blackburn, 2 teams that I think this will be a very good game, this one. A good game, as you'll probably see by my scoreline when I eventually tell you. Bournemouth in the last 3, they lost 3-1, no, not lost, they beat Everton 3-1 to end their Premier League season last time out. They played 2 friendlies, one of them was a 2-1 loss against Benfica, and the other one was a good 5-3 win over West Ham there, a good result for them, showing that they are looking to bounce back straight to the Premier League. Blackburn, on the other hand, their last 3, they've all played a few friendlies. They won 3-1 against Blackpool, 3-2 against Doncaster, and then drew 1-1 against Leicester. They have not had their Carabao Cup game either. So for this one, I think both sides, they've scored quite a few goals in recent games, obviously. Bournemouth beating West Ham 5-3, and obviously Blackburn scoring 3 in 2 of their friendlies. So I think this will be a high-scoring game, and I think, obviously, it'll be end-to-end close game, and I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw for this game. Moving on now to Barnsley against Luton, and both these teams just narrowly staying up last season. Barnsley in their last 3, They beat Brentford 2-1 again. Obviously, the last game of the season, last time out, which saw them stay up. They lost 2-1 against Newcastle in a friendly, and then obviously a shock win over Nottingham Forest in their Carabao Cup tie, which sees them through to round 2. Luton, on the other hand, have won every single one of their last 3 games. 3-2 against Blackburn to end their season last season, and then a 3-0 win against Wealdstone in a friendly, and then their Carabao Cup game was against Norwich, and they won that one quite comfortably by the looks of the scoreline, when it 3-1. And I think Luton, with their recent scorelines, they've scored 3 in every single one of their games. And that's not just against like non-league teams. Obviously scored 3 against Wealdstone. Like, let's be honest, that's not really very significant. But 3 against relegated Norwich is a good sign for Luton, and I think they will beat Barnsley comfortably in this one. I'm going to go for a 2-0 away win for Luton. Next game is Bristol City against Coventry City. Coventry obviously newly promoted, and we'll be looking off to get to the can't speak. We'll be looking to get off to the best possible start they can. Bristol in the last 3 drew 1-0 against Preston to end their 2019-20 season, and they've played 2 friendlies, or I think X2 is a Carabao Cup game actually. They won 4-0 against Cheltenham in a friendly, and then beat X to 2-0. Coventry on the other hand, they've won every one of their last 3. They beat Peterborough 2-1 in a friendly, and then played Peterborough again in a friendly, and beat them 3-2 the second time, and then their Carabao Cup game they beat MK Dons 1-0. Obviously, both of these sides are relatively strong. Coventry on a decent run of form, but I just think Bristol, they've got a very strong squad used to the Championship, so I think it'll be a close game. Coventry will show what they've got in their locker, but I think Bristol will just edge this one, and I think the final score will be a 2-1 win for Bristol City. Next game is between Cardiff City and Wednesday, and as a Wednesday fan, I want us to get off to the best start possible. Obviously, we've got the 12-point deduction. I mean, why wouldn't I want us to get off to the best start possible, even if we didn't have a 12-point deduction? But it's even more important now, as we need to overturn that deficit as soon as possible. But yeah, getting into Cardiff's form, they've only played 1 game since, they've not played any friendlies, and their only game was their thingamajig Carabao Cup game. That's it. They obviously, their last 3, there was the games against Fulham, which they lost 2-0 and won 2-1 retrospectively, and then their Carabao Cup game they lost 3-0 against Northampton. So as a Wednesday fan, that looks pretty decent for us. We might be able to get a win here, but on our form, obviously last season we ended off with a 2-1 win against Middlesbrough. We're disappointing there. We've only played 1 friendly this season, and it was against Leicester City, and we drew 0-0. We performed well in that game. Both sides could have won it, but I had to settle for a draw against Leicester City. Obviously a top 6-7 team in the Prem, so good for us. And then against Walsall in the Carabao Cup, we obviously scraped through on penalties there with not a less than convincing performance there from us, drawing 0-0 in normal time. For this one though, I think this will be a tight game. Obviously, both teams similarly strengthened. Obviously, we just underperform every season, I think. But yeah, I think this one will be a draw, and I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in this game between Cardiff and Wednesday. Next game is between Derby County and Reading, and Derby County in their last 3, they beat Birmingham City 3-1, lost 2-0 to Sheffield United then in a friendly, and then, I've just burped, and then in their Carabao Cup tie, they won on penalties against Barrow after drawing 0-0 extra time, just like we did against Walsall. So, less than convincing again, like I said, for our one. Reading, on the other hand, they have not fared too well in their pre-seasons. Well, sort of haven't. Obviously, last season they ended off the season with a 4-1 hammering against Swansea. And then their pre-season friendly, their only one was a 4-1 hammering. They got battered by Spurs 4-1. And then their Carabao Cup tie went well. They got through, beating Colchester comfortably 3-1. I do think Derby are a stronger side than Reading, and I think this game will be close though. And I do think Derby will just maybe nick this one 1-0. Now on to Huddersfield against Norwich. Norwich obviously relegated from the Premier League last season, back in the Championship. They're one of them yo-yo sides, aren't they? Let's be honest. Huddersfield, to end last season, they lost 4-1 against Millwall. Another poor result for them, obviously, to end the back end of last season. But in pre-season, they have won 1 and lost 1. They won 2-1 against Yorkshire rivals Bradford, and then their Carabao Cup tie did not go as planned, as they lost 1-0 against Rochdale. Norwich, on the other hand, they have played a couple of friendlies against Darmstadt, just like Coventry did against Peterborough. In the first one, they beat Darmstadt 3-2 and then drew 0-0 in the second one. Their Carabao Cup tie went poorly for them, as they lost 3-1 against Norwich. No, they are Norwich. So they lost 3-1 against Luton Town. However, despite that result, I think Norwich have just got too strong a side for Huddersfield, and Huddersfield are also not on the greatest form. So for this one, I think Norwich will win this quite comfortably, and I'm going to go for a 2-0 away win for Norwich. Next game is between Millwall and Stoke at the Den. Millwall obviously capping off last season with a 4-1 drubbing of Huddersfield, a good result there. But obviously last season teams have strengthened, and obviously last season doesn't really matter. Obviously teams stick around the same areas, but yeah, I'm just waffling at this point. On to their pre-season, they lost 1-0 against Crystal Palace in a friendly, and then their Carabao Cup tie went well. They won that one quite comfortably, a 3-1 win over Crawley there to see them pass through to round 2. Stoke, on the other hand, they have had a few pre-season friendlies. Obviously, their Carabao Cup tie, they drew in normal time 0-0 against Blackpool, but then won on penalties. They also had a friendly against Burton before that Carabao Cup game, which they lost 1-0, so not a promising result there. But then they did beat Premier League side Newcastle 1-0, so they show they have got the strength in their side. Obviously, they've strengthened quite a bit over the summer. So for this one, I think Stoke will win this one quite comfortably, and I'm going for a 2-0 away win for Stoke. On to the penultimate game now, and it is between Preston and Swansea City. Preston, in pre-season, they drew 0-0 against Burnley, 2-2 against Sheffield United, and then lost 2-0 against Everton. Obviously, they have not played there. They didn't play a Carabao Cup game, as some of the teams in the Championship also didn't. Swansea, on the other hand, their last three, they lost 3-1 against Brentford, obviously, to end their playoff campaign last season. But in a pre-season friendly, they beat Forest Green 2-1. Again, not convincing. And then even less convincing is their Carabao Cup game, which they played against Newport County. And they lost 2-0 against their Welsh rivals. So for this one, obviously, both teams not scoring many goals in recent games. Obviously, Preston did score 2 against United. But other than that, Swansea have only scored 1 goal in their little pre-season thing, and obviously lost to Newport. So for this one, I think this one will be a very boring game. Maybe a few chances here and there, but I just don't think there'll be any goals in this one. I think it will be a 0-0 draw. On to the final game now, and it is between QPR and Nottingham Forest. QPR in their last 3, they won a friendly against Wimbledon. They beat Wimbledon there 3-0 and a solid win for them. On the other hand, though, they lost 1-0 against Oxford in a friendly there. And then their Carabao Cup tie also didn't go very well, as they lost 3-2 against Plymouth. Forest, on the other hand, they obviously ended off last season choking in the playoffs, losing 4-1 against Stoke. But their pre-season has gone poorly, I'd say. Obviously, they beat West Brom 1-0, so they've shown signs that they're competing with a Premier League side there. Obviously, West Brom only promoted, but like they were a top Championship team last year. But then they did lose 1-0 against Barnsley in their Carabao Cup tie, so signs, obviously, they show that they can underperform as well. But obviously, I just think QPR, they've lost Eze. I think they might be a poorer side this season. Might get dragged into a relegation battle if they don't replace Eze. So for this one, I think Forest will, it'll be a close game. I think Forest will just nick it, winning this one 2-1. Alright lads, that is the end of the Championship predictions, but as I did say at the end of the video, the start of the video, sorry, I was going to give you some quick fire Premier League predictions. So here we go, we're just going to get straight into it. First game is Fulham against Arsenal. I think Arsenal win that one 2-0. Second game, Palace against Southampton. I think Southampton will win this one 3-1. Third game, Liverpool against Leeds. Leeds is returned to the Premier League, and I think Liverpool will just nick this one 2-1. Obviously, they've not strengthened much in the summer. We're going to turn this around now. Next game is West Ham against Newcastle. I think this one will be a 1-1 draw. Next game, West Brom against Leicester. Leicester, I think, will win this one 2-1, a close game there. Next game, Spurs against Everton. I think this one will be quite a high-scoring and entertaining game. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. Next game is Sheffield United against Wolves, and I think this one will be a 1-1 draw. And the next game, the final game, obviously, because Man United, Man City, and then I think I just worked out Villa and Burnley aren't playing because of Man U and Man City being in Europe. And the final game is Brighton against Chelsea, and I think Chelsea will win this one comfortably 3-0. But as I do say, that is the end of the video, guys. If you did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Remember to check out my TikTok and all my social medias. It's Dan Talk CFL on TikTok and Instagram. So yeah, thanks for watching the videos. All the videos, if you do watch them all, thanks for that. And thanks for watching this video, especially if you are still here. So thanks for watching, yeah, as I say, and I'll see you later, lads. Like a Hellcat.